If you lived through 1979, you experienced one of the most diverse and controversial years in music history. Today, we're listening to the music and stories of the 21 number one songs of 1979. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to join our community of music lovers who appreciate the real stories behind the songs we grew up with. The Bee Gees kicked off 1979 with Too Much Heaven. But there's a darker side to this seemingly innocent ballad. The Gibb brothers, who formed their group in 1958, were actually facing death threats during this period due to the intense anti-disco movement. Barry Gibb later revealed he had to hire personal security for his family as the Disco Sucks campaign turned increasingly violent. Few people know that the Bee Gees donated 100% of the North American royalties from Too Much Heaven to UNICEF, amounting to over $7 million. This decision was made before the song was even recorded. Chic's Le Freak had an origin story steeped in social commentary. Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards wrote the song after being denied entry into Studio 54 on New Year's Eve 1977. The song's famous guitar riff was created when Rodgers was experimenting with classical music chord progressions. That's right, disco meets classical music in one of the era's biggest hits. Rod Stewart's Do You Think I'm Sexy caused quite a stir within the rock community, with many accusing him of selling out to disco. Stewart, who began his career in the Jeff Beck Group in 1967, faced severe backlash from rock purists. The song's melody was actually stolen. Yes, stolen from Brazilian singer Jorge Ben-Hor's Taj Mahal. Stewart later admitted to the unconscious plagiarism and agreed to donate all royalties to UNICEF as a settlement. Hey, if you're enjoying these untold stories from 1979, take a moment to hit that like button. Share your memories in the comments below because we'd love to hear your perspective on this controversial time in music history. Gloria Gaynors' I Will Survive wasn't just another disco hit. It was recorded while Gaynor was wearing a back brace. Few people know that in 1978, she suffered a serious spine injury after falling on stage. She recorded the vocals while alternating between standing and lying on a cushion on the studio floor. The song was originally released as a B-side to a cover of Substitute. If it weren't for Boston DJ Jack King, who preferred I Will Survive and played it instead, this empowerment anthem might have been lost to history. The Bee Gees returned to number one with Tragedy, though by this point, the band was fighting internal demons. Robin Gibb's cocaine addiction became increasingly problematic. The band's personal dynamics were so strained that they recorded many of their vocal parts separately. A haunting detail about Tragedy emerged years later. Many of the high-pitched scream effects weren't electronically produced as most people assumed. They were actually Barry Gibb's real vocals, recorded and layered multiple times, showcasing the singer's remarkable vocal range. The Dobie Brothers, What a Fool Believes, marked a dramatic shift in the band's sound, largely due to Michael McDonald's influence. The band formed in 1970 in San Jose, California, and had already undergone multiple lineup changes, but the addition of McDonald in 1975 caused significant tension. The song took an exhausting 371 takes to record perfect, the most attempts for any Dobie Brothers track. If these behind-the-scenes stories are bringing back memories, don't keep them to yourself. Hit that like button and share your personal experiences in the comments. Were you Team Rock or Team Disco? Subscribe now to catch our upcoming videos about the music that shaped our lives. Blondie's Heart of Glass caused an uproar in the punk community. Debbie Harry and Chris Stein, who formed Blondie in 1974, actually wrote an early version of the song in 1974 as a slow ballad called Once I Had a Love, nicknamed the disco song as a joke.
She turned out, had a heart of glass.
The iconic drum sound in Heart of Glass was created using a Roland CR78 drum machine, making it one of the first mainstream rock hits to feature electronic drums. Peaches and Herbs Reunited came with its own share of controversy. Few people realize that the Peaches singing on this track wasn't the original Peaches at all. Herb fame had already gone through 5 different Peaches by this point, leading to legal battles over who had the right to use the name. The song was initially rejected by several labels for being too old-fashioned in the disco era. It went on to sell over 2 million copies and earned the duo their only platinum record. Donna Summer's Hot Stuff represented a calculated risk for the disco queen. Summer, who began her career in the late 1960s in German productions of Hair, deliberately pushed for a more rock-oriented sound despite her record label's reservations. The guitar solo was performed by ex-Steely Dan session player Jeff "Skunk" Baxter. The recording sessions for Hot Stuff were so intense that Summer actually passed out in the studio from exhaustion. She had to be revived with smelling salts to finish the vocal takes. Anita Ward's Ring My Bell almost never made it to her album. Originally written for a preteen artist to sing about helping around the house, the song was drastically rewritten with more suggestive lyrics. The distinctive synthesizer sound of the song was created by accident when a technician spilled coffee on the keyboard, creating a unique electronic warble that they decided to keep. Donna Summer returned to number 1 with Bad Girls, but the inspiration behind the song was far from celebratory. Summer wrote it after her secretary was mistaken for a prostitute by a police officer, highlighting the prevalence of racial profiling, discrimination in late 1970s Los Angeles. During recording, Summer insisted on having the studio lights completely turned off, with only a small strobe light flashing, to get herself into the right mindset for the vocal performance. Chic's second number 1 of the year, Good Times, became one of the most influential songs in modern music history. The irony of its upbeat message was intentional. Nile Rodgers and Bernard Edwards wrote it during the 1979 oil crisis and economic downturn. The song's bass line has been sampled or recreated in over 200 other hits, including Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang, effectively birthing hip-hop as we know it. The Knack's My Shirona was written about a real person, Shirona Alperin, who was just 17 when 25-year-old Doug Fieger became obsessed with her. The band, formed in 1978, faced accusations of misogyny and inappropriate age dynamics, though Shirona herself has defended the song's legacy. The song's drum sound was achieved by recording in the bathroom of the studio, with the drums placed in the shower stall for maximum echo effect. Robert John's Sad Eyes took an astounding 9 years to reach number 1. John, who had been recording since the early 1960s, had almost given up on his music career before his big breakthrough. The distinctive vocal effect was achieved by recording John's voice through a Leslie speaker cabinet, typically used for Hammond organs, creating its unique wobbling sound. Michael Jackson's Don't Stop Till You Get Enough marked his first self-produced track and his emergence as a solo adult artist. The intro spoken section was recorded in complete darkness at Michael's insistence, as he was too embarrassed to have anyone watch him record it. Unknown to many, Michael's brother Randy Jackson played the glass bottles used in the percussion section, but had to walk out halfway through the session due to a case of uncontrollable giggles, forcing them to loop what they had already recorded. If these insider stories are bringing back memories, don't keep them to yourself. Hit subscribe and share this video with friends who lived through this incredible musical era. Drop a comment below telling us your favorite Michael Jackson memory. We'd love to hear your story. Herb Alpert's rise demonstrated the remarkable versatility of the artist who had founded A&M Records. Alpert, who began his career in the 1950s, faced significant skepticism about releasing an instrumental track during the height of the disco era. What many don't know is that Rise gained renewed popularity when it was sampled in the notorious B.I.G.'s Hypnotize in 1997, introducing Alpert to a whole new generation of music fans. The Eagles' Heartache Tonight came during a period of intense internal conflict within the band. Glenn Frey and Don Henley wrote the song with Bob Seger, but the recording sessions were so tense that they had to be done in shifts to avoid confrontations. The distinctive hand claps in the song were recorded in a stairwell at the studio,
Somebody's gonna hurt someone.
with the entire band and their friends participating, one of the few moments of unity during this period. The Commodores still represented a growing divide within the band. Lionel Richie's ballads were becoming the group's biggest hits, causing resentment among members who wanted to maintain their funk roots.
Out you once again.
This tension would eventually lead to Richie's departure from the band he joined in 1968. The piano intro was actually recorded on a slightly out-of-tune piano, but they kept it because Richie felt it added character to the recording. No More Tears, Enough Is Enough brought Barbra Streisand and Donna Summer at the height of their powers, but the collaboration was fraught with tension. Both divas insisted on recording their parts separately, and their only promotional appearance together was notably awkward.
No moonlight, no stardust, no sad romance.
The song was recorded in one take, but only after 3 days of separate rehearsals by each singer. The final mix required over 50 hours of studio time to balance their distinct vocal styles. Styx's Babe became their first and only #1 hit, though it created significant discord within the band.
I'm leaving, I must be on my way.
The band's hard rock fans saw it as a betrayal of their progressive rock roots. The song was almost left off the Cornerstone album until DeYoung's wife convinced him to play it for the band, leading to their biggest commercial success. Rupert Holmes' Escape, the Pina Colada song, closed out 1979 with what many consider the ultimate guilty pleasure song. Holmes, who had been a successful songwriter and producer for others, initially refused to record it himself. The song's original lyrics didn't mention pina coladas at all. They were added at the last minute when Holmes saw the drink on a bar menu. Perhaps the most ironic fact about the song is that Holmes himself doesn't like pina coladas, and none were consumed during the recording sessions. As we've seen, 1979 was a year of musical transformation, personal conflicts, and incredible creativity. If you enjoyed these revealing stories about your favorite tracks, make sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell. Share this video with friends who lived through this remarkable year, and let us know in the comments which song brings back the strongest memories for you.